Alistair's the guy. That's the steroid argument. Like, that's the guy. Yeah, that's the guy for legalizing steroids.
I remember I was so like excited. We couldn't afford to fucking buy it, but I was like, when him and Brock Lesnar fought, I was like, man, I just remembered like the hype video, and I was like, yo, these are two fucking giants. Like Brock was huge.
But then again, Brock probably shouldn't have taken that fight either, because Brock was just a few months out of diverticulitis surgery where he had to get a length of his colon or his intestine removed. I mean,
thank God, man, I've never had anything
in
like
the
that.
body like that from Alistair, who's a K1 Grand Prix champion and juice to the tits at 260.
Yeah,
Alistair was huge. He was fucking huge, man.
Do you think that the heavyweight? Do you think the heavyweight limit should be 285?
No, I don't think it should be a limit.
I don't either.
I don't think it makes any sense.
I don't have a
super heavyweight class.
I say anything above 330 is too much.
Why? Let him fight.
Because then you're gonna get some fat motherfucker that ain't.
So let that guy get fucked up.
Punch.
Let that guy get fucked up like Francis.
Fair enough.
But I don't think you should cut weight. I think you should be like your heavyweight boxing. Like when Andy Ruiz fought Joshua. Terrible the second fight. He was so fat. He's 280 pounds. But that's just what you are. That's it.
Yeah.
This is heavyweight. Heavyweight is heavyweight. This idea of a super heavyweight class, we've never utilized it. There is a weight class above 265.
Why do you think Dana won't do it?
There's nobody there. Who's there? Other than Francis?
Like Francis, even like a 195, a 175.
I don't know. They don't listen to me.
Listen, clear.
If it was me, I would do two things very, very early on. If it was my decision, and it would fucking throw everything into chaos, but ultimately be better for the sport. Number one thing I would do is more weight classes. I would say minimum every 10 pounds.
I agree with that.
And in the lighter weight classes, you could go 5 pounds. Look at what boxing does. Boxing is, 126, 130, 135. Like they go.
I think it would be the cleanest organization to have every 10 pounds.
10 pounds.
But without, like, boxing, there's 4 different fucking belts at each weight class, right, or whatever it is.
Well, there is kind of with the UFC, people respect, obviously, Johnny Evelyn is like one of the best middleweights on the planet Earth, without a doubt. And unfortunately, he's fighting in Bellator, and the casual has no idea who he is. But the guy's a monster. And then
he just got announced to fight Impa.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, me and Impa fall in the same contender series when I broke my arm. He won.
Yeah.
I like him.
Impa's a great guy. And unfortunately, he's at the wrong end of that highlight kick from Joaquin Buckley. He hit him with one of the craziest kicks of all time. That jump spinning back kick while he was holding his left leg. That was wild.
Yeah, that was
wild. And Joaquin is another one. That dude at 170 is a fucking problem.
Yeah.
He's a guy he was a big, muscular guy who decided to fight at 85 and was beating a lot of guys at 85 because he's so powerful. But you see him at 170, his gas tank is crazy. His skills look like he's on another level.
Yeah. I know he was salty. I told him in the back before I beat him to us, I'm going to take that bonus from you. They were talking shit on me when I walked in the fucking PI, though.
Oh, yeah?
So, yeah, but me and Buckley are cool. But
I love Buckley.
Yeah, he was like, man, beat Joe Piper. And he was like, man, fuck Joe Piper. I was like, that's how you feel. All right. But yeah, it was funny.
Well,
Joaquin's funny.
Joaquin at 170 is a real force. He's a real force. Yeah, I think as he moves up in the rankings at 170, I think that's his real weight class.
So here's the thing, though. When I look at a guy like Buckley, and hopefully he watches this or he doesn't watch this and get offended, but how does he fare against somebody like you still got Kevin Holland. He whooped him.
He did. He whooped him at
got
185. But I think that, in all fairness, I think Joaquin is a way better fight. He's a way better fighter now at 170.
Yeah.
Now, look, you get better. You keep the dude is driven as fuck.
Yeah.
He's constantly training. He's getting better. Everybody gets better, or they don't. And when they don't, you see that too.
I would like to see Joaquin against a guy like Jeff Neal type of deal. I think I like Jeff Neal.
Well, dude, Jeff Neal's another guy. Go back and watch his Bilal Muhammad fight. He pieced up Bilal back in the day. Jeff Neal was the dark horse. When he knocked out Mike Perry, when he hit him with that head kick, Jeff Neal is a motherfucker.
I think he's the one that put Mike Perry Perry's fucking nose on the other side of
I
his
thought it
face.
was too, but Mike corrected me online. It was Vicente Luque. Vicente Luque. Meanwhile, Mike Perry at bare knuckle boxing is one of
Tearing it up.
the fucking dangerous human beings ever.
Yeah.
He's specifically designed for bare knuckle fighting. And that guy is,
You know what's funny?
uniquely qualified
To brag. Lorenzo Hunt, you know?
Yeah.
I beat him.
Did you?
Choked him unconscious.
In an MMA fight?
My third or fourth pro fight. He said, man, that's somebody's kid. That's somebody's kid. And I choked him. Yeah. I didn't throw a single fucking punch. He came out and threw a wild right hand, took him down, choked him out.
He's a very good bare knuckle boxer.
That was my first introduction because I'm still kind of undersized in middleweight. He was my first introduction to like an old head that was like 33, 34 that had like fucking grown man strength. You see that motherfucker's head? His shit's like this fucking big.
Yeah, he's stout.
Yeah.
He's bare knuckle fighting is not getting the respect that it deserves.
You know, I think it's too brutal for the common people.
Yeah, I think so. You're probably right. But I'm a big fan of the Juggernaut. He's a beast.
Yeah.
I love watching those guys too. It's just because it's such a hard way to do it. It's such a hard way to do it. I mean, bare knuckle boxing is fucking rough. You see when Rockhold quit when Mike Perry blasted his teeth out. It's like, that's it.
Bro, honestly, Rockhold is the biggest disappointment to me. He used to be one of my favorite fighters, and he's just like, I didn't realize how fucking socially stupid he is. In an interview, it's the worst shit I've ever listened to. Yeah, you better. I'm coming. It's like, you don't know what the fuck to say?
Well, in his prime, the man was a monster.
Yeah, he was a beast, man.
Monster in his prime. When he beat up Chris Weidman and won the title.
That was a crazy fight. And then he just kind of like fell off. Ever since Mike fucking checked his shit, I think Mike ruined him. Bisping.
Yeah.
I think Mike fucking broke him, man.
Well, that was a bad loss. And to fight Bisping on short notice and be like super cocky. There's a thing about being confident and being delusional or overconfident or not respecting your opponent. And, you know, I don't
deserves it.
Yeah, I don't know if that's what happened with Adesanya and Strickland. I think Strickland is just that good. I really do.
I don't think Izzy like sidestepped him as much as we think. I think people don't understand when you're in there and you got a guy that never fucking takes a step backwards. It throws you off. You never can plan.
Right.
So you're not hitting your power shots. You're not doing the damage that you would if you were dictating. You're not going on your terms when you're going backwards the whole time. And that's why I think DDP has a good chance, because he's going to fight for that center to walk forward. He's a guy that walks forward, Sean walks forward. I just think because DDP kind of falls over his knee when he attacks, I think he's going to get Sean in the back. But for how long?
We'll see. I'm very interested to see who prevails.
I think he does well early.
Abus Magomedov fight, I think that fight was one of the most impressive fights of Strickland's fight.
I do too. I think it was underwhelming to people, though.
Abus comes out in that first round like a bat out of hell, but he just gassed out. And he gassed out at the end of the first round.
He was throwing bombs.
He was trying to take him out. I think Abus was just so used to taking guys out that he thought he could just put it on Sean. He was hitting Sean with fucking fire.
Yeah.
He was hitting him. That dude's good, man. He's good. But Sean just wilted him.
Yeah.
He's wilted him.
Yeah, man.
He doesn't get tired.
Yeah.
It's crazy when you have a guy who spars as much as Sean, because the bulk of Sean's training is sparring, and he spars hard. He's so accustomed to that's really like a fight all the time.
But he knows himself very well. He knows what he's good at.
Yeah.
And he knows what he likes. He knows what works for him.
Yeah.
So why fix what's not broken? You know, so.
What do you think Adesanya does when he comes back? Like, who is he fighting? Like, he's not going to fight Paulo Costa.
Well, he still ranks, right?
Of course.
Like, but why wouldn't you take him out of the rankings if he's saying he's not coming back for 3-4 years?
Because he's not really.
Right. So, that's why I'm asking that. Is like, I don't think he's going to sit out that long either. Like,
3 years is crazy. That would be a crazy thing to do. I mean, unless, look, I haven't talked to him. He may have, like, real injuries. Like, real.
He fought, like we said, he fought so much, he was active. Yeah. I think this fight happens this weekend. I think maybe 1 or 2 more title fights, whoever is holding it. I think if DDP wins, there's a chance he slides in to fight Drakus. Just because of all
that
Adesanya
fight. It could be. And also Hamzat. You got to wonder where Hamzat fits in that. I mean, obviously Hamzat, they're going to give it to him. than we think. Yeah.
Well, he's got superstar power.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, like I get like nervous watching him, like with excitement.
Yeah.
Because I love watching him. It's his face. It's the way he looks. It's his
smiling.
persona. He's like doing this shit. Yeah.
Smiling at him.
Yeah.
In the fight.
He looks evil.
He does.
He's got the look of somebody that like, man, this motherfucker's about it. And he is. He's tough. He's a gangster, man. He goes out there and he does his game, and you know, he's not a quitter. But
Adesanya injured. Shares timeline for full-time return to training camp. Last time I know would return sooner than many expected. Although his current rehab schedule doesn't make the UFC 300 fight look very likely. Okay, so he is talking about coming back. So when it says he's injured, does it share what the injury is?
Specific. I was just looking at share that, but it doesn't say specific.
Yeah, I think there's stuff that he's been dealing with.
So, yeah, I got this injury. It'll take a while.
A long time to recover and whatnot. Like, I'm like, what are you telling him? I'm a smart coach. He knows the injury exists. We'll try to use it against you. So he's not going to tell anybody what the injury is. He says, so far I'm recovering very well and I'm on track. If he's got something that's that big, that's either like knees or back or neck, generally. Or, you know, it could be other joints. But generally, when someone's got a significant injury like that and they need a lot of time off, it could be a back thing. It could be a knee thing.
it could be a gastrointestinal thing.
Yeah.
You never know. I mean, I think that's like, I had a lot of struggles with like stomach problems. Like,
Did you?
yeah, man, I always felt like I had like this crazy acid feeling in my stomach.
It said he's aiming to get back in the gym, training hard by the end of February. That doesn't bode well for fans hoping UFC 300 in April. No, I don't think he's going to be at UFC 300, but he might be in the June card when Conor returns. You know, they're going to want to stack that card up.
How do you think that goes?
Well, I don't like it that it's at 85.
Is it actually confirmed to 85?
I don't know.
I know he said that,
He's
but like,
drinking wine and talking shit with a Rolex on. Like, who knows? Who
bro,
knows?
that man drinks.
He does.
That man drinks. That man does some
Yeah.
stuff. But
Yeah, he likes to party.
I don't see that's like.
And he's getting older as well. And he's also coming off the sauce, right? So he gets on the sauce, rightly so, to recover from that bone injury. It's a significant injury. You snap your femur and your tibia, or rather, and your fibula. You snap those in half and your ankle's dangling. That's a long road back. And it's been 2 years now plus. And, you know, if he really is going to fight in June, and he maybe just doesn't want to cut any weight, and he walks around at 85. So what I was saying earlier is there's 2 things I would do. One is every 10 pounds. 2, I would try to figure out a way to stop weight cutting. I would try to figure out a way to get fighters to fight. I think almost killing yourself 24 hours before you fight in the cage is insane. Almost killing yourself by dehydration is insane. I think they should figure out what guys actually weigh when they are low body fat, hydrated, and say, this is your weight class.
And this happens because there's not enough weight classes.
Right. And don't you think, like, they could, instead of having fights scheduled at 155 and 170 and 185, what about more catchweight fights? What about more guys fighting at what their natural weight is?
I don't understand why they don't do catchweight fights, because there's so many like interesting matchups.
Yeah.
One of them was always the GSP versus Anderson Silva.
But Silva's losing weight to get to 185.
Yeah.
And GSP, when he went up to fight 185, when he fought Bisping, he had to put a bunch of weight on. It was a struggle for him. He was eating like 6 times a day. He got sick. He was almost like throwing up all the time. So he's trying to eat so much food just to maintain the mass. I think that those fights are exciting, like super fights where guys go up a weight class or down a weight class. But I think that the real way to do this is to reshape the sport where you cut what I call sanctioned cheating out. Everybody's doing it. There's nothing wrong with doing it. Don't get me wrong. But the fact that you don't really weigh 185, but you fight at 185 pounds. Like when I interview you and you're 185, I'm like, how? When I interview Trickus, I'm like, how? How are you 185? It doesn't make any sense. You're not 185.
He's a fuck scale 185.
Fajeda's fucking huge. How are you 185? You're not 185. This is nonsense. You're really a 225-pound man. That's what you look like. That's what you are. And that's really what the weight you should be fighting at. And I think guys would fight better. I think they would have less deterioration of their endurance over the course of a 5-round fight if they weren't fucking radically dehydrated 24 hours ago. It's just, it's
And then,
avoidable.
well, that's the other part of it too. Like people that walk around, like let's say I walked around at 85. Well, if I fight at 85, I'm undersized.
Right.
I'm walking around at 85.
Of course.
Fucking people cutting down. Like, if
There's
I
only
went
a
to
few guys
205
that ever
right
did
now,
that.
I'm not that big.
Frankie Edgar's the last guy that did that. Frankie Edgar's the last guy that was a champion that walked around at 155 and fought at 155.
Always undersized.
BJ Penn and Gray Maynard and beat all these guys at his natural weight. But that's really not where he should. He wound up at the end of his career at 135, which is really probably where it should have been all along.
Yeah.
But, you know, trying to convince guys to do that when there's guys like you that are cutting the weight, that are massive for that weight class, it's crazy. You would never do it.
I don't fucking had the weight class. I'm tired of fucking cutting weight. I hate
They should have the weight class. They should have 185, 195, 205, maybe 215, 225.
You should have seen me early in my career. Like I said, I was 174 fighting in 185. I was skinny as fuck. I've always been skinny. I'm still kind of skinny.
What did you do to put the weight on?
So this is where I get to plug my guy, right? So I never had a strength and conditioning coach ever. And when I got into, so I was sitting at a light one day coming back from Philadelphia practice at Marquez, and at the light, this guy's like, yo, he's like, you're Joe Piper, right? I was like, yeah. And he's like, you should come by my gym one day. And I was like, yeah. Like, I was like, kind of like, yeah, like, nah, probably not. Like, what the fuck? Like, I don't even know you. I wound up going, wound up hitting him up, like, yo, do you do personal training? And he was like, yeah, of course. His name's Adam Ferris. He owns a gym called Pursuit. It's right in Washington Township, like right around where I live, right? I worked with him. We didn't do anything crazy, anything hard or anything. I was skinny as fuck still because I just came off of being, you know, having 2 surgeries and all that stuff. I was still on the road back. And after I won my 50 grand bonus and I won my debut, I was still super skinny. I think DC interviewed you. Interviewed me once, and it was Miami. So from that time, when I won my debut, I was still skinny, and I didn't have a chance to ever have like a power program because I took a fight a month after I won the contract. So, and then I didn't have a chance to have a weightlifting program because I'd had a comeback fight, and then I broke my ankle. So I never got a long enough period to build my body back, and I also didn't have a strength coach. Like I just, for some reason, I never thought I needed one. I made it to the UFC on the first before I continue. I made it to the Contender Series, hitting pads 3 days a week with the man that I brought, Sam Orpiza, who had a full-time job, and we would do it at 5 a.m., 3 days a week. I wrestled with one of my best friends, who literally was only a wrestler, had no MMA experience, and he was like 5'7". And he was just like a sauced fucking wrestler, and that's it. I sparred with Corey Anderson once a week.
Wow.
That's it. That's how I made it. That's how I was making all these fights, and I was knocking everybody out doing all this. So now that I have structure, now that I actually have a system with Marquez, I have jiu-jitsu with Jonathan Webb. Like, you know, I'd be fucking Gerald Mearchart, the middleweight submission, highest fucking whatever. Dude, got waxed. Like, didn't even come close to beating me. You know, so my jiu-jitsu is underrated, and my wrestling is underrated. But I think it will come to light, you know, with a guy like Jack. But
so you started the strength and conditioning program. So what kind of stuff are you doing?
So, man, I was doing a power program. So I do like a 6 to 8 week power program, deads, squats, and bench. But bench is kind of bullshit because I care more about the explosive rep, right? Like that's what we care about because I'm just not putting more than 275 on a bench with my elbow.
Right.
That's just not worth it. It's not worth the risk. It's not worth the nerve pain.
Right.
It just doesn't make sense for me. So I'd be deadlifting a fuck and I'm squatting a fuck ton. I always wanted thick legs. I never had it. And then now I started putting on size and I wanted my back. I've always had a real big back, like strong back, like wide. And so yeah, I mean, we were doing a power program, and then we would go right into like explosiveness and jumps and ladder drills and just doing real simple movements, but a lot of functionality, like a lot of core twisting, a lot of med ball slams, a lot of kettlebell stuff, and yeah, that's my coach right there, Adam Ferris. Dude, a hole in the wall, small ass gym. Like, dude, I hate those fucking things so much.
Yeah, and single leg lunges are rough.
Yeah, and then we would just, you know, but my point is, Joe, I gave myself time after I won 50 grand because then I could afford to eat the way I needed to. That I was going to be evicted from where I was living if I didn't get side money from Dana, who gave me a place to live after I won my contract. And then when I got the 50 grand bonus, I was like, I'm going to fucking eat. Like, I get to eat good food. I can buy, food's expensive, so I took like the next 4 or 5-ish months to build myself, and then when I came in against Gerald, you hyped me up. You were like, his fucking size. And I was like, dude, my ego. I was like, yes, finally.
Yeah, you looked awesome.
It's called fucking skinny my whole life.
Not anymore, brother.
Yeah, no, not at all. And then obviously we're doing all that work with something that you've seen, the documentary through all that time. So now it's finally, hopefully we get to release it soon. But we do have
There's
the
an official trailer.
Yeah.
Well, we'll play the trailer and end on this. And listen, Joe, I'm a big fan. I'm fucking pumped for you. I'm so fortunate to be in the position that I'm in to be able to watch these fights. And one of my favorite things is to watch guys come up. I love it.
Thank you, man.
And the Razak Hassan fight was, to me, was like, that's what I like to see. A guy with potential that's just like, oh, nice. Like, this guy's world championship potential. It's right there.
Exactly. And that's the only thing I'll say, and I'll leave my last. You look at Jack and you look at me, the way my mind is, Jack's not been able to climb to the top, but he's been against the best, and he's lost to the best. Me, and if you look at him where he is now, coming off an injury, 35 years old, do you look at him and say, hey, this guy can hold the belt? No. I think the general public would say no. You look at me, there's a lot of question marks still. I still have to prove myself against a lot of good guys. I haven't beat anybody that's that good. So I'm really honest with myself, but I'll put myself on the map very soon. So I'm excited. And thank you for having me on. This has been my whole life has been crazy since I got to UFC.
It's awesome. Enjoy it, my friend. Okay, so when is this documentary coming out? When will people be able to see it?
Our fellow friend Alex Davis, we're working on it.
Shout out to Alex.
Can't say it yet, but this was actually filmed by Chandler Henry, who is actually a kid that I went to high school with. So now I got him a job, and he does this for a living. And beautiful. This was made by him. So we're hoping really soon. I just can't say yet because that's Alex's job now.
All right. Well, Alex will take care of it, I'm sure. So we'll end on this, and this is available online. You can watch it. It's what is it called, Jamie? Official trailer, Journey to the UFC, Joe Pyfer. Go find it. And February, what is the fight with Hermanson?
February 10th.
February 10th.
Las Vegas.
Main event from the Apex. Let's go. All right. Thanks, Joe. My pleasure.
I've always believed, ever since I was a kid, that fighting isn't something you do. Fighting is something that chooses you. All my life, I was a throwaway kid. I was always terrified if I lost, I knew I was getting screamed at or I was going to get hit. Being slapped, punched, kicked, thrown down, hair ripped. To the point that I ran away from home just shy of 17 years old because I couldn't take it anymore.
A lot of different people come from broken homes and they hold so much anger inside and hurt. That makes a person become kind of like an animal,
Joe is just on this tear, and then he gets a call from Dana. Dana's like, I want to put you on the contender series.
This is Joey's shot to get in there, and a career-ending injury just happened right in front of my face. 18 years in the game at that point. Gone.
In Joe's case, this is the sort of injury that could absolutely end a career.
This is an unforgiving sport. When you're the man, everybody loves you. And the second you lose, everybody forgets you. I wasn't ready to be forgotten. The pain that I know that kid went through and overcame in his life, if you want to beat him, you got to kill him.
Jamie really find out that he didn't have a place to live. And he's like, what do I do? And I was like, you go to the Nuggets. Fight.
I'm scared for my life for the first time ever in a fight.
If you want to get into the UFC, this is where you want to be.
This episode is brought to you by LifeLock. Your tax refund belongs to you, not an identity theft. Over $6 billion in tax refunds were flagged by the IRS for possible identity theft in 2023. If you're in a bind this tax season, LifeLock can help. LifeLock monitors and alerts you to identity threats you may miss on your own, even if you're careful with your personal information. And if you do become a victim of tax-related identity fraud, LifeLock has U.S.-based restoration specialists ready to help you solve your identity theft issues. Plus, all LifeLock plans are backed by the $1 Million Protection Package, meaning LifeLock will reimburse you up to the limits of your plan if you lose money due to identity theft. Let LifeLock help protect your financial information, so all you have to worry about is what to do with your tax refund. Go to lifelock.com/JRE and save up to 25% your first year. That's 25% off at lifelock.com/JRE. Identity theft protection starts here. Tap the banner to learn more. This episode is brought to you by Simply Safe. When you want peace of mind, I think the first thing you've got to get is a Simply Safe home security system. It's comprehensive protection for your whole home with cutting-edge technology and 24/7 professional monitoring that'll help keep you and your family safe. The installation process is real simple. You can easily do it yourself or leave it to a professional team. And the best part, in my opinion, is there is no long-term contracts ever. So you'll always get the protection that you need at half the cost of traditional home security. Experts and customers love these systems. It was even named Best Home Security System of 2024 by the U.S. News and World Report. So if you want to protect your home today, I recommend Simply Safe. Right now, listeners to this podcast can get a special 20% off any new Simply Safe system when they sign up for Fast Protect monitoring. Just visit simplysafe.com/Rogan. Don't wait, that's simplysafe.com/Rogan.
The Joe Rogan Experience.
Drink by day, Joe Rogan podcast by night, all day. Joe Rogan. Yanis Papas. How are you, my brother? I'm good. How you doing? What's the fuck's cracking? I'm doing good, man. Just enjoying Austin. Are you enjoying the Dawn of Freedom? I'm enjoying the Dawn of Freedom. This is the Dawn of Freedom. Yes. Freedom in this new world. Yes. I'm enjoying it. I'm eating. I went to Suerte. Oh, that's a good spot. It was incredible. Yeah, that's a good spot. I think it's the best Mexican I ever had. It's very good. There's a lot of good Mexican out here. Yeah, that's a good spot. That was good. Yeah. And of course, hit Terry B's on Martin Luther King Day, so it was empty. It was nice. Suerte, you have the added benefit of being around people with masks. It's like an East Austin. I haven't seen any masks. No, I think. Well, I did in Vancouver. I was in Vancouver before this. Yeah. They're weird. They never stop. No, they're still going. Yeah. Yeah, it's wild. There's a San Francisco town hall meeting, and they passed a vote to stop for a ceasefire in Palestine. I saw it. Yeah. Yeah. And so they're all masked up, and they're dancing around, and they got blue hair. And somebody made a caption that this is literally South Park. This is literally an episode of South Park. And they look like fucking complete maniacs, left in this worn, torn, shattered hull of a city. Yeah. Whatever's left is filled with human shit and tents everywhere. They're dancing around. But they stopped the ceasefire in Palestine. Yeah. You voted for it. Stop it. They solved it in Oakland. Like as if Benjamin Netanyahu's paying attention. Right. Like that's going to work at all. It's not going to stop now. Yeah. You stop
traffic on the way to the airport in New York, and that'll do it.
Yeah, that does it. That generally does it.
That's what Netanyahu's waiting for. He's like, all right, now I see the error in my ways now.
Now I gotta pull back.
Now I gotta pull back.
I did go too far.
Yeah, let me back it up.
Dude, they're stopping traffic. This is serious.
I saw in Austin, I saw 3 people on the overpass just holding up the Palestine thing. And going like,
I bet those people have amazing, productive lives, and they're not crazy at all.
Yeah, not at all. No. They got nothing. They got a full schedule of things to do, and they took a lot of time out of their schedule to stand on top of the highway.
They're super healthy. They're really into mindfulness. They're on the ball every day. They get everything done.
Every one of them has an alert for what they have to do next on their very busy schedule.
Free Palestine. I wasn't gonna.
Those people
I
just
saw your banner.
Yeah, until the banner came up. Yeah, those people are just perpetuating the situation over there. It's like the whole "is it right or wrong" thing. It's like it's obviously wrong. Humans have always been wrong when it comes to that. It's always been about power. Who's got more power and who has less.
It's very multi-layered. That's the thing about any international conflict. You can look at them. You know, they did this, and then they did that. And then it's like Ukraine and Russia. Like you say, oh my God, Russia invaded Ukraine. This is horrible. And that's most people's natural reaction to it. And then when you go, wait a minute, was there a rule? Did they make an agreement to not push arms closer to Russia? Did they consistently violate that agreement? Were they trying to move Ukraine? I was reading about them trying to move Ukraine. What are you supporting? Right? No, wait a minute. Isn't this a very multifaceted, super complex international conflict that really is about a lot of things? It's not just about Russia and Ukraine. It's about NATO. It's about nuclear arms being pushed closer to a superpower. It's like,
Yeah,
there's more to it.
there's more to it.
There's more to all of it.
And usually that's why war breaks out, is because it's so multi-layered, and then it gets to that breaking point.
It's just wild that they can still pull off war today. War, which essentially like hijacking resources or controlling parcels of land. It's weird that they can still talk like that today. Because it's kind of an old hustle. It's almost like old radio.
Yeah.
Like it's such an old hustle that you can get people to believe these people hate you for your freedom or whatever it is. And then you go, oh, let's fucking shadow up and go kick their ass.
Yeah.
It's kind of amazing, given what we know about the true nature of conflicts and how so many things are manipulated behind the scenes to force people into actual physical conflict. And then there's generals that sit in air-conditioned offices and they move their pieces around the board like chess pieces.
Yeah.
Human lives.
Yeah. Yeah, and they don't fight. They're never in the front.
Never.
I don't even think Alexander the Great was in the front. I don't buy it.
Well, he didn't live long.
He didn't live like
Alexander the Great. He died like, he's like 40.
Yeah, didn't they die young back then?
Oh, yeah.
And he died of like some sickness. He didn't die from like a battle wound.
I think probably all died of sickness.
Can you survive if you're in the front back then? That's like a meat factory.
No, you're not going to survive.
He was in the
Most
back.
likely you're not going to survive. I feel like back then, like, sickness probably really kicked in when we started gathering together and throwing our shit out the window. Or like actual shit. Human shit. Like if you think about the cities of ancient times before there was plumbing, do you know how horrific that must have been?
History smelled, yeah.
We don't remember. We weren't there. We assume every place is like Target.
Yeah.
We assume every place is like a fucking rest stop on the highway. You can go in and take a shit. No.
Yeah.
No, people were shitting out windows. They were throwing their shit in buckets. He was 20 when he took over. Whoa.
Yeah, he conquered the world. He was in his early 20s.
What a gangster. Look at this. By the age of 20, okay, he succeeded his father, Philip II, to the throne in 336 BC at the age of 20, and spent most of his ruling years conducting a lengthy military campaign through Western Asia and Egypt. By the age of 30, he had created one of the largest empires in history. Holy shit. Stretching from Greece to northwestern India. He was undefeated in battle and widely considered one of history's greatest and most successful military commanders. wasn't he also gay?
Oh, then there's
Bi.
Was he bi?
That was the way back then. Yeah.
he's
Is that what he was?
Yeah.
students in Aristotle, and there was written question
Wow.
about those.
Tutored by, yeah, those relationships were uncomfortable. Those guys all fuck those kids.
They had eunuchs.
There was those, yeah, and then they just had young boys. Yeah. What did it say about the Aristotle thing? No, sorry, I go back to that quote. What it was? Oh, that's good. What a huge page. That guy did a lot of shit. It says by the age of 16, until the age of 16, rather, Alexander was tutored. By 16, he was too old. Aristotle was like, get out of here, fuck. Bring me a young boy. In 335 BC, shortly after his assumption of kingship over Macedon, he campaigned in the Balkans and reasserted control over the, how do you say that, Thrace, and parts of Illyria. You should be saying this. This is your native tongue. This is basically. I went to Greece this summer.
How'd you like it?
Amazing.
Yeah.
Your people did some wild shit, dude.
Yeah.
Your people did some wild shit.
We did. I remember like Doug Stanhope said, I didn't do anything.
Right.
I was on
Your
the couch.
people. I'm saying your people. Your team.
Yeah.
You know, if the Lakers win, you didn't throw a ball.
My tribe.
We won. You know.
Yeah. The only thing we didn't do is create an empire because we're too busy infighting, which is typically Greek.
Well, you know, you can't do everything.
Can't do
Did
everything.
a lot more than a lot of other cultures 2,500 years ago.
Did a lot with mathematics, philosophy,
Democracy. Yeah.
Did a lot.
Yeah, a lot with drugs too.
A lot with drugs, a lot with pedophilia.
Have you ever read that book, Immortality Key? No. It's about the Eleusinian mysteries. It's this guy, Brian Murarescu. And Brian's been a guest on the podcast before, and he's a scholar who is like a straight-laced guy, doesn't do drugs, nothing. And he, through all of this course of study, they were trying to figure out like what they were doing in these Eleusinian mysteries. Like, why were people going from all over the world to have these experiences, and what were these experiences? So they recently discovered that inside these pottery vessels that they used to contain wine and beer in, they found ergot. And ergot is a very potent psychedelic. It's like a fungus. I think it's akin to LSD. And so they're at the very least, we're taking that in this one spot. And what they believe is that all of these like transcendent experiences they have, these the Eleusinian mysteries, they get together and figure out how to solve the world and let people vote. All that wacky, that's all, I'm tripping balls. This is my idea shit. And it's literally the birthplace of democracy. It's literally how the world changed for the better. And your people were doing it 2,500 years ago. And AG1 has been helping me feel healthy for years. And if you've been listening to this podcast at all, you've probably heard me talk about it, not just in ads, but with guests, my friends. I tell everyone, AG1 is a foundational nutrition supplement that supports your body's universal needs like gut optimization, stress management, and immune support. So it really covers all your bases with one drink in the morning. And that's my favorite part. It's very easy. With the free welcome kit, you get everything you need to start your day right. You don't have to remember 20 different pills or vitamins or supplements, just one scoop in cold water and you're good. So if you want to take ownership of your health, it starts with AG1. Try AG1 now and you'll get a free welcome kit that includes a shaker bottle, canister, and metal scoop, along with a 1-year supply of vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. Go to drinkag1.com/Rogan. That's drinkag1.com/Rogan. Check it out. This episode is brought to you by Me Undies, my all-time favorite underwear. I'm wearing them right now. I don't even have to check. They're all I wear. They're the shit. Guys, we're pretty much stuck with what we've got when it comes to appearances. And there are things that can help you feel more confident, though, like makeup, if that's what you're into. Or another thing that can help, I think everyone can get behind, is wearing the right clothes. And for the men out there, that means getting contoured pouch and ball caddy from MeUndies. What? The contoured patch and ball caddy, you say? This underwear makes you look good and feel good with a micro-modal sling that gives you the support you need down your nether regions. You never want to take them off. They're awesome. That's not the only great thing you can get from MeUndies either. They have a lot of different apparel, including loungewear. And everything comes in different prints, styles, and sizes, all made to be flattering and very comfortable. Seriously, the fabric they use, it's breathable, it's stretchy, it's soft, but don't just take my word for it. Try them out yourself, and if you don't love your first pair of underwear from them, it is on MeUndies. How about that? How about that deal? Good things come in big packages. Get 20% off your first order, plus free shipping at MeUndies.com/Rogan. That's MeUndies.com/Rogan for 20% off, plus free shipping. MeUndies, comfort from the outside in. Tap the banner or visit this episode's page to learn more. And you can walk in the same spots where they walked. You can see the buildings that they built. It's weird. It's weird when shit is that old.
Yeah.
And you can just walk on it.
Yeah.
Like the Parthenon, you just walk around.
Yeah. And you can marvel at how durable what they built.
Yes. 2,000 years is so long.
There'll be no, in 2,000 years from now, you're not going to see these strip malls still standing. They'll shit.
Literally be dust.
Yeah.
They'll be dust.
They built things really well back then. I think 100.
Great effort too.
Yeah.
To do that, like the kind of precision that's involved in the Parthenon, when you're walking around it and you see how all the stone is cut and how it lines up and how massive the columns are and how beautifully symmetric it is. It's so smooth and clean. These people didn't have engines.
It's crazy.
There was no engine. This was all done by hand.
Yeah.
It was all dink, dink, dink,
Flavor.
dink,
Yeah.
dink, dink. Oh, craftsmanship.
Yeah.
I mean, you weren't just getting the crews of people, you're getting artisans.
Yeah.
You probably worked against your will.
Yeah.
But,
To move those big rocks and stuff. Yeah.
100%. Who the fuck knows how they did that? What the hell were they doing back then? They did some wild shit back then. When we think about like human ingenuity, oh God, we're missing so much of like, they didn't leave like, here's a book on how we did it. This is where we got the rocks, this is how we cut them. This is the best way to move them. We should move this way, they'll fall on you, you can kill a few guys. You know, this is what we figured out over time.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy to think about. And I agree with you. I think it was drugs that opened people's minds up to like think about this.
Yeah, it gave them a completely different perspective. Like Carl Sagan once said that about marijuana. I'm paraphrasing. Essentially, he was saying that it offers you a perspective that's not available without the drug.
Yeah. That's why I think mushrooms are getting popular for depression, right? It sort of takes you off those grooves that are created by the neural connections.
Yeah.
It just gives you a new perspective.
I wonder how much, I mean, there's certainly different kinds of depression. There's depression that's clearly something wrong chemically in some people. But how much of it is just from not being healthy? How much of it not being healthy with your body and not being healthy with where your life is going? Like what kind of job you have, what you like.
That's got to be some of it.
Friendships you have with all your friends suck.
Yeah, that's got to be a big part of it. And I think trauma, childhood trauma. I think childhood trauma kind of can make you depressed.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
I think that
Especially abuse.
Yeah.
Abuse seems like the one that people have the hardest time shaking because it's not, they weren't even, it wasn't even that they were ignored, that someone preyed on them.
Yeah.
And they have no self-worth. They're beaten. They have no self-worth.
And they know that the younger the abuse or the neglect happened, the more of an imprint it leaves because the brain's forming.
It's fascinating stuff, man.
But we have neuroplasticity, and you can go to therapy, and EDMR is something I'm doing, and it's incredible. It's the only thing I've ever done that sort of works.
What is that?
EDMR was invented by Francine Shapiro, like in the 80s, accidentally. She's a psychologist, and now it's become sort of the gold standard for trauma treatment and PTSD in like fat hospitals and stuff. And what it is it's EUD. It's eye movement desensitization and reprocessing. And so
it involves moving your eyes in a very specific way while you process traumatic memories.
Yeah, I'm doing it now.
Oh.
It's crazy.
Oh my God, you're hacking your brain.
You hack your brain and you get into your subconscious, like your REM sleep state, and then you reprocess the memories. And when you're there, you start having vivid memories. And then when you're done memories start flying in out of nowhere.
How did you find out about this? This is wild.
It was interesting. I was in LA, right? So I have early childhood trauma, and then I've had some traumatic things happen to me later in life, and then the panic attacks started after I got shot when I was in my early 20s. I didn't know what they were back then. Like, I just didn't know what they were, so I'd just be having these panic attacks in the train, just going like, what is happening to me? So I've been dealing with it for like 20 years, and it would go away for periods. I'd have great periods, and then it would come back, and after I had kids, I think I called you. I spoke to you once, and you were very helpful. But after I had kids, it sort of triggered a lot of these feelings that would come up out of nowhere. And sadness. I'd be looking at my kids, and I'd get sad. I'd be playing with them. I'd get sad, and I didn't understand it. And then I'd be in a hotel room and on the road, and I'd just start like panicking and be like, "What is this?" And so I was talking to my friend Tracy Carnazzo. She's a comic in New York. She's funny, and she's one of these Italian girls who's just got a guy for everything. She's just, you can ask her anything. She's like, I know somebody. So she was like, how are you? And I just answered honestly. I was like, I give like a paragraph. And she was like, it sounds like you didn't feel safe as a kid. She was like, let me get you in touch with this person who I'm friends with. It's EMR. And then I got in touch with this therapist, and she's incredible. And I started the EDMR journey, and it's the only thing I've done. And EDMR has a beginning, middle, and end. It's not like, it's not like ad infinitum. It just goes on forever. It's like you're there to reprocess this trauma.
And so do you do it at a specific place?
I do it in Zoom. I love the Zoom.
Zoom?
Yeah.
So you Zoom with someone who guides you through it? Is that how it works?
Yeah.
And you do it how often?
I'm doing it now twice a week, but you can do it once a week.
And how long is each session?
An hour. She'll go longer sometimes.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what do you feel like the chemicals moving around in your brain while you're doing this?
Yeah, you do. And that's a big part of it is identifying the trauma in the body and how it affects the body. There's a book called The Body Keeps the Score by, I think his name is Bessel. He's a psychiatrist, and he's responsible for all these trauma centers all over the country.
So this guy is doing it to this lady right now, and he's going back and forth with his fingers, and she's following his fingers, and so she's supposed to be thinking about traumatic memories.
So then he'll take her back through the first phase is like identifying the trauma. So it's a lot of talk therapy. So you kind of, talk a lot, and then the therapist gets the idea of what you need to go back and reprocess. New things will come up when you go back, and then you reprocess it. It's not just hands. You can do. You can follow a ball. You can hold the buzzers in each hand. It's about stimulating both sides of your brain.
Yeah.
What's happening in mental health now is so fascinating because when you parallel it with like what happened in medicine, right? Like we used to treat the symptom. Right, so if someone had a fever, they treated the fever, but they didn't know what the cause was. So they put you in cold water or boiling water, whatever they did. And then they found out about viruses and bacteria, so they started treating the cause. Now, in mental health, you're starting to see that revolution because of, the advances in neuroscience, where they can look at the brain and they can actually see, what parts are responsible for what, where trauma shows up in the brain. They just did a recent study. It was a big study about how traumatic memories don't come back as memories. They come back, they light up in the part of your brain as if it's happening now, which makes sense. We knew that because, when Vietnam vets start bugging out there in the supermarket or whatever, but they can actually see it now in the brain, that the brain is processing it as it's happening now. So, converging neuroscience and psychology and all the things that they've known from all these different advances, it seems to be in a place now where trauma is becoming one of the things that they focus on the most, like early childhood trauma or traumatic events in war. Obviously, we know that's that's the specific cause of what is bothering those people. Is what they've experienced, and so now they're targeting the trauma, but they have ways to treat the trauma with EDMR, with brain spotting. It's called, a whole bunch of these tactics.
That's really fascinating. Yeah. It's really fascinating when you think of, like, I had this guy on the podcast yesterday, Joe Piper. He's an MMA fighter in the UFC. He had a terrible fucking horror. It's constant. It's like heartbreaking to hear the story. But you gotta, it's just fascinating, like, as a human being, like, whoever you are listening to this right now, you are the accumulation of your processing of every experience you've ever had. As much as we like to claim autonomy, we think on our own, and we kind of, there's definitely chemical problems. There's definitely people that just have a genetic defect, something. Just like some people have diseases of all sorts of other parts of their body, they get diseases in their brain. That's fucking for real, 100%. But you're basically just an end product of experiences and your interpretation of those experiences, the lessons and the way you contextualize all those experiences, and they're all in your head, and that's your map of the world. That's your map of the world. So if you're in San Francisco, think, yay, we freed Palestine. Like, their map of the world is fucked. Like, their experiences, like what's got them to 2024, January 18th, whatever it is this result sucks. Like, this result sucks. Like, this is terrible. Like, you guys are out of your fucking mind. You're wasting your time. There's needles on your street. You guys are out of your fucking mind. What are you doing? This result sucks. But those people they could have been in fucking Wyoming, like hardworking ranchers, the same human. Could have been like a salt of the earth, fucking Kevin Costner, Yellowstone looking motherfucker. It could have been the same. It's just your experiences. Yeah. It's just what shapes you, what directions do you go in, when do you get pushed down, when do you get lifted up, who gives you a hug, who pushes you away, and how does this play out?
Yeah, I don't think a lot of people know themselves because you got to do all this work to know yourself because your brain protects you in so many ways that you're unaware of. Like, they know in neuroscience, like, your brain usually, when it's healthy, works in concert and sends information to different parts of your brain to process it. But when you have trauma or a chemical problem or whatever it is, it doesn't work well. And in traumatic experiences, your neocortex shuts off and your limbic turns on, and there's a survival reason for that, right? So if you're in a moment of fight or flight, you don't want to start reasoning. You don't want to go like you start philosophizing. You're just emotional. You're dealing with your survival reptile brain, and so it actually shuts off. So people who have like panic and anxiety, it's hard to reason your way out of it because that part of your brain is shut down.
Now imagine you have panic and anxiety already. You're already experiencing depression, and then they prescribe you medication, and one of the side effects of that medication is suicidal ideation. Yeah. That's, imagine being that person and forced with that choice. Like, this may help you, or you might just. Yeah.
Well, medication,
that's a wild one, man.
Yeah, medication
it can help you.
It can help you.
You can also
hurt you.
You can go sliding down a hill, and there's no trees to grab.
But every study they do, still till now, medication is not the end-all cure. Like, it just doesn't. It can numb it. It can help you. It's definitely good if you're in like a jam, like if you're really in a bad spot. It can. But when you do the medication, that's when you got to start doing the work. You can't just do the medication as an end to fix it.
But the medication is interfering with the natural system. You know what I think? I think it's going to be the future of medications. Going to be like for mental illness. It's going to be like leeches. Like, oh, they used to use leeches. I didn't know any better. No, they should just put medicine into people. Just give them chemicals. Oh, they didn't fix the brain? No, they just chemicals. Why didn't they do the rewiring? Oh, they didn't figure it out. Yeah. But the fucked up thing is that trauma that you experience as a child, or those bad, the trauma is a very overused word, because some people experience real trauma. So let me say this: the negative experiences that you've had, both as an adult and as a child, those also made you who you are. If you're happy with the result, like if you're happy with how you're living, you're happy with what you're doing, those things are important.